So yeah, I will be speaking a little bit about content management systems and GeoServer and some other things. So some bit of agenda. The company that I represent is Jāņa Sāta. It's leading cartography and geospatial intelligence company in Baltic states. It was founded like 30 years ago, so our start was in paper maps, but now it's both digital and paper maps, and we are located in Riga, Latvia. And about myself, my name is Edgars, and I just noticed two days ago that my surname is almost the same as the name of the country that the current conference is currently in. I'm myself a web developer. I work for the company for like 5 years, and in my free time I do Wikipedia and related projects to Wikipedia. So yeah, what did we build? And as the previous speaker, they are currently building. We also are doing that. That's work in progress. We did build yet another web content management system for geographical data that's called Daugava, which is kind of very important river in our country. So important river, important product for our company. Yeah, we did use React, Redux, and OpenLayers for the front end. PHP Laravel framework in the backend, and of course there are some Postgres with PostGIS as a data store. So yeah, typical use case. So some municipality wants to create a digital map for tourist attractions, and they have like many layers, and each layer can have like a different set of attributes. Of course, some of them are the same, but for example, for sightseeing farms, there might be an attribute, say what animals are there. So yeah, screenshot of the product. So one client simply wanted to put all the schools in Latvia on the map, and to have some more information about how the students wrote the exams, what were the results. So yeah, basic stuff. You can toggle on, toggle off the features. You can edit them, you can delete them, and for editing you can move the feature around, edit all the attributes, add some attachments, and change object style. So yeah, that's somewhat what our product is. But yeah, how do you get to the idea of why would you need to create your own CMS? So of course the main reason is that you, or more likely your clients, have this need to store their geographical data using some web interface, because let's be real, maybe you can do it with QGIS or some commercial software, but your clients won't use the specific GIS software. And yeah, maybe you have tried some other existing CMS tools, but they simply don't fit your need. So yeah, so the front end, some mapping library, preferably OpenLayers or MapLibre if you are using vector data. Then there's this backend, and of course you will probably also need this database. Most probably that will be Postgres with PostGIS. But how do you visualize the data on the map? So there are probably two main strategies. One is just use GeoServer and visualize it with web map services. That would work in many cases. For example, if you have like lots of data and you don't want to transport it to the front end in vector format. But we found that passing data, just taking from database, using backend to transport it to front end in GeoJSON or some other format that you prefer is a better strategy, because in many cases it's a better strategy. You can have like dynamic styling. So if you want to edit some feature, you probably will want to style this feature differently, like in completely different color, or add some highlighting. With GeoServer, you probably would need to make a new WMS request, filtering out that feature, and after you have done editing, you would need to refetch the whole map with WMS. And of course, also you don't have to think about cache invalidation and about this WFS. So if you click on the map somewhere on some feature, you want to get some information for pop-up or whatever. With GeoServer, you probably would use this WFS requests, but with this GeoJSON strategy, you can you already have the data on your map. You simply use the mapping library capabilities to get the feature that you are clicking on, and for the data storing, data editing, having the pipeline simply, if you use this vector format strategy, then you have like bigger control of the data and the workflow in your backend. With the GeoServer, you probably would use this WFS transactional service, which would limit you to do some specific things and processing. So yeah, and the second thing that's somewhat not traditional is how do you store the attributes? And with this I mean, of course, the textual attributes, because with geometry it's clear. You simply use it you simply save it with PostGIS, and that's fine. But how do you work around with attributes? And there I see like three main strategies. Probably the simplest one in some cases would be that each layer has its own table where the attributes are represented as columns. If you have if you decide that for your need, you only need you will only allow the same set of attributes for all your features and all your layers, then you have only one table and that's it. And you also in this way you have this also the data type validation in your database. The second strategy is to use this entity attribute value model, which basically means that you have this one table for your features that doesn't know anything about the attributes. Then you have the second table for attribute definitions, like you say that attribute 1, 2, 3 is belongs to layer 3, 4, 6, and it has like this name, this description. Maybe you have multiple rows for multiple languages. If you are multilingual application. So yeah, and then you have this third table where do you store the attribute value. So there are like 3 or 4 columns. You have feature ID, you have attribute ID, you have the value, and in case you do multilingual stuff, you also, of course, need to store the language. It is kind of cool, but the querying part is really not fun. So to get data, you have to make either multiple select statements or just jump everything into one ugly mess, or use your backend to process the data. Of course, there are frameworks and libraries that help you do that, but if you are out of them, then you are on your own. And the third strategy would be to use Postgres or any database as a NoSQL. As a NoSQL. Everybody loves JSON, or almost everybody. So Postgres has JSON support. MariaDB also has JSON support, and in other databases you can simply have text column and store JSON directly. So depending on your architecture and the decisions, you can make this really simple. Like you can simply have your features table, and there is only one column containing all the attributes. But in fact, we at our company we did make it harder and more complex, and actually moving a little bit toward the entity attribute value model, because there are some problems with the SQL, not with this JSON approach. For example, if you allow your users to name the attributes as they want, and you store them in database in like normalized form, so you can end up with multiple attributes that the human readable name are different, but the normalized name is the same. So I don't know, different capitalization or stuff. So what we did, we just simply added some suffix to the attribute names so that they are really completely unique. And that also gives us opportunity to, if the user, let's say, delete the attribute for email, and later on he decides, oh, okay, I will need an email field, then in this suffix way, you can store all the old data in the database, but for the front end and third party apps, you can still show the new email field, and it won't clash with the old one. But of course, it also causes some problems. So, for example, in GeoJSON, the properties field is like this simply hash map, and if you have like multiple attributes that have the same name, then you are also in some problem. But yeah, you always have like these in each case you need to think what will be easier and more functional. So yeah, thanks for attention. Yeah, if you want to follow up, or for example use our CMS, you can simply write us, and yeah, we can make a demo or talk further. So yeah, thank you.